So good morning, everyone, and welcome to yet another wonderful session of Saturday morning sessions, fondly known as SMS. It's growing and thriving just because of your presence. And I'm sure, just like me, everybody is taking away every Saturday one or more things, like I share with my group, with my team members, as to how there is so much to learn from so many wonderful minds, every day, every Saturday that we share new, come up with new things. So today we have amongst us a youthful, dynamic speaker, Ramandeep ji, from all the way from Raipur, Chhattisgarh. I would not spend time in introducing him. I would just like to say that he is well acknowledged in amongst professionals. I have heard very good things about him from both CGST as well as state tax officers with whom I had a opportunity of interacting. They have मैंने बताया कि मेरे एक दोस्त है वहां पे रमनदीप जी बोला अरे जानते हो वो तो आते हैं हमारे यहाँ पे ट्रेनिंग के लिए and they said wonderful things about him. So, with this brief introduction, I would like to go to Ravandip ji for sharing his thoughts on the recent changes. And then, of course, the pattern is group discussion. And I'm also happy to share that today Unni ji is also here. So, we'll get his inputs also. Yeah, over to Ravandip ji.
Thank you, Arubji, for very kind words. And it is always a privilege to speak amongst all the faculty. It's very privileged to speak among the learned members. Arubji, there is one login from Lenovo. You please grant the right to share the screen to that Lenovo kind of, because I am logging from my tab and I will not be able to operate on this. Yes, thank you. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen. Yes, I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So what I'll do is first we will discuss the recent circular which has came up on various services. We'll quickly touch upon those services which have been included in the circular, and some clarification has been issued for that. And then we'll go to the, if time will permit, we'll go to the voucher one. So let us first go to the very recent circular which is issued on various services. Just 1 second.
Yeah, circular is visible now.
Yeah. So this is regarding various services, all those clarifications which have been issued in Council Meeting 55, those are covered in this particular circular. The first one was with respect to GST on penal charges levied by regulated entities in RBI instruction dated this, and this says that these will be exempt, and the reason given being is shared in this circular. First of all, if we need to check who are termed as a regulated entity in the view of RBI instruction. So if we go to the RBI Act and we'll see who are covered in the RBI entities. So it says banks, non-banking institution, cooperative banks, PSSO, payment system operator entities, rural cooperative bank. So there are different entities on which are regulated by the RBI are covered under this RBI regulated entities. And so it says in the view of RBI instruction dated this, they are instructed to levy penal charges in place of penal interest. So instead of levying penal interest, they were instructed to levy the penal charges. As per these instructions of RBI dated 18th of August 2023. And they say that to discontinue penal charges and to levy penal charges effective from 1st of January 2024. And this will not be applicable to credit cards, external commercial borrowing, trade credits, and structured obligation. So it is being viewed. Some of the department officers have started raising objections, saying that these are nothing but a payment for tolerating an act. even though we have a very detailed circular number 178, stating that all and everything cannot be considered as a tolerating of an act until and unless there is a specific contract for doing such particular act. And therefore, there is one view which was created by the some of the department officers that these are nothing but a tolerating or tolerating an act, and that is why they are taxable. There are breach of performance. So now this have been very muchly clarified that since these are penal charges, they are for the essence of contract, they are for the performance, not for the breach of a contract. So that is why there will be no GST is payable on these penal charges levied by the regulated entities, and hence this will not be covered under the tolerating an act, because it is an essential part of performance of a contract, not a breach of a contract, and that is why there will be no levy of GST on all these kinds of charges levied by the regulated entities as instructed by the RBI. If you notice this, one point which was triggering to my mind is nowadays that various circulars which clarifications which are coming, they are trying to connect different other acts and other entities also correlating with the GST, which we usually used to do. But now the department has also started doing that. One of those examples was the earlier circular which has came for X contract delivery, where they have related with the sale of goods act. When the delivery is performed, the delivery is given, the essential ownership has been passed on at the factory gates itself. So there the person becomes eligible for input tax credit. And now again, we as a law reader always used to connect different laws and different entities, different aspects of a transaction. Now the department is also have started connecting the different laws and different, in fact, the instructions given by the RBI is also. So any point on this? Any point on this of any member, please? Anything to add on this, or shall we move ahead?
So Ramandeep bhai, are they claiming that this is exempt, or are they saying it is no supply?
They are saying it is. They are saying it is not taxable at all. It is
so
in
it
the.
means they are considering it as a no supply, not because it is exempt.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Because it is.
Fine.
Because they are saying it is. They're correlating with the tolerating an act, and tolerating an act is not a supply at all.
So that was even a previous circular on similar lines. So they
Correct.
are following the same analogy here, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yes. So the second, the next exemption entry, the next para which is covered here is on the payment aggregators, where they are saying whether the payment aggregators which are settling the accounts up to rupees 2,000 rupees in a single transaction through a credit card or debit card or other payment charges, are they covered under the exemption entry which is given in the serial number 34? First of all, we have to see what is serial number 34. Serial number 34 of this notification number 12, which is an exemption entry, says that services by an acquiring bank to any person in relation to a settlement of an amount up to 2,000 rupees in a single transaction, credit card, debit card, charge card, or other payment card device are covered in this. Then they have given this definition of acquiring bank in an explanation in this entry also, which has been dealt in detail in the later part. First of all, we have to see who are these payment aggregators. Who are these payment aggregators? Payment aggregators are nothing but those kinds of platform which facilitates e-commerce or merchants to accept payment on behalf of their customer. And when I was checking that, these are the examples of some of the payment aggregator like Razorpay, BillDesk, Pine Labs, InstoMojo, PhonePe, or similar kinds of types of people are there who used to collect payments from various different commercial sites, merchant bankers, etc., to create separate payment integration in their process. And in their view, PA receives the payment, जो payment aggregators used to collect the payment, pool them and transfer them to the merchant within a specified period of time. This is what the role of payment aggregators are. Important thing here is they have said that these entries will cover payment aggregators, but it will not cover the payment full-fledged payment gateways. So payment gateways will not be covered, but payment aggregators will cover. And they say that payment gateways are entities that provides a technological infrastructure to route and facilitate processing of an online payment transaction without any involvement in handling of funds. Now, I do not have very practical exposure, but as I can see reading this line and from my general perception, that payment aggregators' role is only to accept payment and to reimburse the payment to the merchant bankers. Whereas payment gateways are those which have more facilities. They have some larger facilities in terms of technological infrastructure. They used to process end-to-end the payment process. Probably this might be involvement of raising invoice also, collecting and providing different types of services more than payment facilities. Probably we can say that in the payment gateway. So it says that these entry will cover payment aggregators, but will not cover the payment gateways as it says. And because it says that the definition of acquiring bank as mentioned in the entry 34 is any banking company, financial institution, including non-banking finance company or any other person. So there is a word any other person who makes the payment to any person who accepts such card. So any other person was mentioned, and it says that as per clause 8 of RBI guidelines, the settlement escrow account management, these are required to make payment within certain set of time period defined by the RBI. And that is why they say that these entities are regulated by RBI, and that is why they will be covered by the definition any other person who makes payment to any person who accepts such card. But as I was mentioning, they have distinguished, even the RBI guidelines have distinguished the payment gateways and payment aggregators. They say that these payment aggregators will be covered under this definition, but payment gateways will not cover. And these exemption entries will be applicable only to the payment aggregators. And it is also clarified that this exemption is limited to payment settlement function, which involve handling of money and does not cover the payment gateway part. So, so they are covering only those entities which are collecting money and paying back, and this exemption entry is only for a specific amount of 2,000 rupees, but they are not covering the payment gateways part.
प्रबंधक जी इसमें क्या है ना, जैसे हम लोग ये बुक माई शो का टिकट खरीदते हैं या फिर आईपीएल का टिकट खरीदते हैं ना, तो देखिए पेमेंट पेटीएम ले रहा है, करेक्ट, लेके फिर आईपीएल को दे रहा है, तो दे आर कमिंग अंडर दिस कैटेगरी.
Perfect example, sir. बिल्कुल, very right, sir. Very right. Yes. So anything on this? Any dear friend want to speak on this? Right. So the next point which Puniji has recently was mentioning in the group also is with relating to research and development services provided by government entities against a consideration in the form of grant. As we see that there are different institutions, hospitals, colleges, universities, and research associations which perform different types of research, and they receive grants from different entities, including government and non-government entities. But now, as this matter has been discussed in length in 54 GST Council meeting held in September, where they have said that services provided by government entities, research association, universities and colleges, which are notified under Roman 2 and Roman 3 of subsection 1 of section 35 of Income Tax Act against consideration in the form of grants, they are being exempted. They have treated this as an exempted supply. The same has been exempted with effect from 10/10/2024 by this notification dated 8/10/2024. But they mentioned that there are some entities, there are some interpretational issues that government entities like BRDO, CIRCR, which gives grant to the different entities, whether they will be taxable or not. Now, these issues has been resolved from 10/10, and the notification has already been issued on 8/10 this. So probably they here are clarifying is that this notification is all those things done in the past have been is accepted as is where basis from 1st of July 2017 to 9/10/2024, which has been regularized by way of this circular. But the point here is that now first I think we should it should be also discussed here that whether this research services provided by this type of organization is actually a service or not, because whether there can be said to be a quid pro quo in this, or those entities which are not registered, because this will be very important for those entities which are not registered under this Income Tax Act of Section 35, but still they are providing some research services to different organizations, whether they will be out of this exemption entry and they are providing a supply, and whether they will be required to pay tax on those grants received from different entities, including the government entities. Anybody who wants to say anything on this?
Yes, I think that is the first main question. Simply
Yes.
by extending the exemption to them, that does not mean that we can presume that originally there was a service or a supply. Yes,
Right.
100%. That need to be tested independently for every organization, considering the modality in which they are working and how they are formed.
Correct. Correct. Grant
Sir,
generally. Yes. Yes. Yes.
what
Please, sir.
could be the case when it is not a supply? An
Yes.
example.
Sir, there are in the past, it is held, I think, in various way that there is no reciprocal obligation against what the grant is given. I mean, as in the contract, there is a quid pro quo probably, and there is no reciprocal agreement, reciprocal give. Generally, the results are shared to these organizations. Whatever research they do, the results are shared. Sometimes it's a public research, or sometimes it's a specified on topic. But we cannot say that this is a contractual arrangement where I am receiving something and I am obliged to perform certain tasks for certain entities and to give them back.
The same case, specific grant, general grants that we used to do in the past. Specific grant for a purpose or general grants, simply.
Okay, so let's say it's a general type of grant. So views will be different, or if it is a specific type of grant, then it could be termed as a supply, sir, in that case.
If it is general, it should not be the supply.
Okay.
I understand.
If it is a general, then it could be a supply.
It should not be a supply because
Okay.
it is not given for a specific grant.
Right.
The same analogy that was given in donation.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Sir, for a sake of better understanding, let me frame an example for all of us that let's say a cancer hospital has been receiving a grant showing that for using that such a specific type of drug on cancer patient, what are the results which are coming? They need to share to the government laboratory, or let's say to some department. Whether this specific purpose of giving this grant, of doing all these activities and work, of sharing the data, can we treat it as a supply?
If the person who is giving grant is expecting results of the grant,
Naturally, sir. Naturally, they are expecting that whatever the result may be, that will be shared to them.
Yeah, that will be money given for doing research, carrying on research.
Okay. So you are saying that there is a specific task to be performed for that person, and that is why it will be covered under that. It will be covered under the quid pro quo, and it is supply in that case.
In my views.
Yes.
I have a small input on this, rather a question to everyone.
Yes.
Now, extending this example and answer given by, I think, Rajiv Bhai, that
Yes.
let us say government is any government department or ministry is giving grant to a particular body, like you mentioned, a cancer institute for carrying out a research and even sharing the results. Now, my
Yes.
question is whether only grant given for carrying out research is sufficient or carrying out research for that entity is the necessity. I hope I'm clear. Means, let us say I'm giving grant and I'm asking you, okay, you do research, you share result with me, but you can also publish the result anywhere and you can even share to other government entities. Whether
Correct.
this will change because this is still a specific grant.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes. You're right.
or
You're
it
right.
has, or there has to be a condition that it should be limited only to me, or it will be as per my disposal, whom I guide. Only that way you can use the results. I think that
Correct.
can be a deciding factor.
Yes. Yes. Very right. Very right. Vishal, very valid point. So, any views on this, or any past precedents, or anything to discuss on it? Ponni sir, you were sharing some thoughts.
Yeah, Ramandeep ji, I think we have many friends with us. Like Yasji is there.
Yes.
So Yasji, your view or anybody else wants to share their view also on this? Then maybe we'll go to Ramandeep ji again. So the more question here raised is that when I'm getting money for carrying out a research, the results of which have to be shared either with that particular entity or maybe with others, external persons. So whether that will come under the purview of supply or not, because there is a consideration. So that is there. But whether it's for providing any service or not. So anybody wants to share their view? Acha, Venuji wants to share. Yes.
Yes, Venuji.
Yeah, see, it is not qua supply. This exemption is not qua supply. So that means there is no condition for me that, okay, I have to provide this service to the recipient of or someone who is making the sponsorship. I am not necessary that I have to provide the results back to them, or I can make it publicly available. Per se, this transaction doesn't, it is not qua supply. So the way we should consider this, it is same like a grant which is given to do an activity. So it is qua recipient and the type of activity. So having said that, if the results have been taken by someone and they're paying money, or they're not paying money, it is indifferent. And if someone is paying money for it, it doesn't fit into this transaction. It would become a supply, but the original receipt would be still be exempt.
Okay.
I disagree. See, you cannot say that it is co-recipient, because then the question is whether there is a quid pro quo. Whether it is a supply or not will be the larger question. So once you bring it as supply only, then you need to examine whether it is exempt. So in your analogy, it will be always be an exempted supply, but then it will have input and Rule 42 implications. Whether if it is not at all a supply, but it will be still be business, will be eligible for ITC.
Okay, they have made it as an exempt supply. So they are saying the money which is being received is an activity of supply and it is exempt. Okay,
Yes, sir.
but
They
that
are
being
treating.
used by someone is not covered under this. So what I'm trying to say is it's a core activity, and there is no condition that my research should go back to the same person, or it is a general research. So that is nowhere given in any of the conditions or the mention. So because supply is wide enough to cover everything. So questioning whether there is a quid pro quo or not is not necessary, because charitable institution definitely do not have quid pro quo many cases, but not every charitable institution is exempt. So there is a difference between donation and sponsorship. I think it will be not right if we say that, okay, it is only have to be if the person who is making the payment, only that person is the recipient of my work. Then we are restricting the exemption entry.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, only one more input to this, Ramandeep, that word is the consider, as we are talking about quid pro quo. So I think there is one judgment in UVAT in respect of loans which are being given to the schools. and the condition of the loan is that if you will construct the school building, then you will get this amount. There, this issue came up that whether this can be treated as a consideration for supply, and there they differentiated that what that consideration there the amount has to come for, whereas if it is the amount is coming where the condition is that you will use that amount. So they differentiated word for and with, and they said if the amount is coming and that will be used for a certain activity, then in that case it will not be treated as a consideration. But if the activity is done with the intention of actually getting that amount, which may include my cost also, then it will be consideration. So where that Vishal was referring to, that on each case we would have to look at it, and where Venuviji was also talking about that charitable activity, charitable institutions. So that is how are we going to use that amount, whether there'll be a UC requirement or not, and if the leftover would actually remain with me. All these things would actually determine it is a quid pro quo or it is quid cum pro, and accordingly I think that decision would be taken. So this exemption per se would definitely confuse the revenue by saying that for the previous periods all of that was taxable.
Correct. 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 Very valid point, Yashji. Saying that the differentiation of the word consideration for using it for a specific purpose and consideration for that specific act is very important distinguish, which you have created mentioned with the EU judgment. Yes, sir. Someone.
Vishal, you wanted to share something?
Yeah, Vishalji.
I just wanted to ask Yash Bhai. So in that particular judgment, so what was the final order that whether
That it is
it is
not
a consideration?
it is not
Exactly.
taxable.
I also understood that way only. It is not taxable, right? Because
Not
I'm
taxable.
constructing the building for my purpose. Only you have put it is like a condition that okay,
Correct,
this grant is for getting a building constructed. I'm not giving anything to the person who is giving the grant, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely
Okay.
right.
I just wanted to clarify.
In case I have just opened it in front of me, I'll just read 2 lines in that judgment they've written.
Please.
There is
Yashji.
Just make a co-host if you can share it. I'll make a co-host. Just give me 1 minute.
No, actually I am on phone and that is on laptop. I have to change my I'll share it on the group. It says there is a direct link between carrying out of the development and drawdown of the loan, but the development is not a supply of service for the loan. Rather, it is effected with the loan. It is not a quid pro quo, but a quid cum pro. It is appropriate to apply both tests to fact of these cases to see if either of them is satisfied. And then they went on to decide that because that they may be direct nexus, but the activity has of constructing the building has not been done for the purpose of getting the loan. Rather, loan is the means to actually construct the building.
One more question on this. Even after 11A has been inserted, why are we still getting access basis circular instead of a notification?
I think notification is already issued till that day. From that date, the clarification has been given.
No. Notification is under 11 and not 11A, and it is a prospective exemption. Now, my question is, we have 11A, which could have done it in one shot instead of a circular and a separate notification altogether. Why is 11A still not being used?
But is 11A notified?
11A is, yes, notified.
Unniji, I think 11A is more with respect to industry practice. And I think these points, what we are getting on as basis circular, these are more about a clarification. And once they are clarifying, they are saying, okay, in order to avoid litigation, we will apply as is. I could make out this difference.
No, but Vishal, you had a long.
So it is not about industry practice. Maybe that is why. Yeah.
No, but Vishal, you had a long discussion on this with the authorities here. So they are saying that for as is where is basis to give any kind of relief for the proper officer, they'll need intervention of 11A. इसलिए 11A को लाया गया है because they couldn't drop the past orders for ice cream and all those things and all. So I think everywhere industry practice thing has to be brought out by the petitioner. यहाँ पे भी you have to bring in this thing that it was industry practice not to for all the government entities not to charge the tax on this. So that's why they have not charged.
No, these are not limited to government entities. There are a lot of 12A charitable institutions, other research organizations which are not semi-government or NGO model, which
No, I'm saying here in this particular exemption, since they're mentioning, and when is 11A notified? Let's just see once. 1/11.
Yes, it is notified with effect from November 24.
But अभी तक कुछ आया नहीं अभी तक. No notification is issued under this thing, 11A. Well, I was told that 11A they'll come out with the sectors or industries where they're going to go away with all these exemptions, like this affiliation matter for schools, that's having a huge impact. तो उसमें है काफी सारे areas that they wanted to come. So I think they're planning all together, and maybe after today, I think we can see something. Or in the, after the next GST Council meeting, maybe they'll come with a list of the industry sectors.
Right. So I think we should park our discussion here and move ahead. So the next clarification which has been issued in this circular was with regarding to the GST skilling services provided by the training partners approved by the National Skill Development Corporation. And so what they have done is, in the previous meeting, they have introduced a new training partner which has been approved by NCVT. NCVET is National Council for Vocational Education and Training. So they are saying that those training partners which are approved by NCVET will be eligible for the exemption entry. And what they have done is they have deleted the earlier entries where they have the training partners approved by the NSDC, National Skill Development Corporation, which was withdrawn that time. But they are saying that later that Ministry of Skill Development has pointed out that by withdrawing that exemption entries will create problems and will create problem for those partners of NCDC and would have adverse impact on skilling ecosystem. So now with this in this GST Council meeting, they have restored those exemption entries which were deleted by the earlier one, and they have for the interim period also they have said that it will be exempt for that period also from 10/10/2024 to 15th of January. It should be considered as an exempt as is where basis. So that is, I think, probably very simplistic part. Then the next clarification is with
Ramandiji, no, I have an issue in this.
Please, sir. Please,
okay. Now, two things. One, the change from NFDC to NCVT was purely something that the GST department missed out. So in the interim period, it is not a fault of the organizations and the TPs that their parent organization got merged into NCVT. So can we read that this is clarificatory and corrective in nature and applies retrospectively?
sir,
for the exemption, I mean.
I think you have got some practical touch upon it. If you can explain some background about it, sir. I personally do not have any practical exposure.
Yeah, there are two issues. Like
Yes.
the notification was making reference to the older organization, which the concerned ministry changed to NCVT.
Okay, sir.
So the problem is the exemption notifications still refer to the original organization, which was no longer there.
Right.
So when
NFDC,
yeah, so when the department took a position that even though the original organization per se is defunct, since we don't have a notification, we won't give you exemption.
Okay.
So everybody got taxed.
Okay.
No. So this is more of a corrective procedure being done in the notification. So I want to see whether we can test it as being clarificatory in nature.
Right.
And the second issue that I've seen here is the organizations which are under NCVT, they have TPs. So the activities to the students who undergo training are exempted. The activities conducted by the training partners are also exempted. But these training partners need to pay something to the organization which is also approved by the NCVT. This transaction seemingly is out of the exemption limit and it appears to be taxable.
Right. Sir, I think when it comes to reading the exemption entries, I think department will always take the stance of the center of the Dilip Kumar judgment in saying that we will read the exemption entries in the strictest sense to the manner it is provided in the notification itself, and they will defer to say that this was not specifically mentioned in the notification, and we will restrict our exemption entries to only NSDC entities only, and will not give benefit to the NCVT, which have been incorporated in the later stage. This is my personal opinion, sir. What others Any views on this? Anybody? Until and unless that department itself clarifies by an explanation that which it has done in the various clarification that this will retrospectively apply from 1st of July 2017. But in this particular case, they have not done it. Only the part they have clarified for the interim period itself. They are saying for the interim period, NSDC training partners will also be covered on as is where basis. But they have not. They have failed to mention anything about the training partners which are registered in NCVT for the earlier period, for the past periods. Yes. Any views by any member? Puniji, if you can share your thoughts on it. Okay. Okay, sir.
So I filed an AAR last week to see whether this test can be applied. They'll reject, but I'll see what can be done.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. So let us now move to the next part, which is on the GST applicability facility management to the municipal corporation. There is a specific question asked by this MCD where they are receiving some upkeep services, some housekeeping, some maintenance, some horticulture facility from say, and they are saying that whether this can be covered under the entry 3A of notification number 12, which says that if it is a composite supply of goods or supply of services, 25% of the value, the supply of goods is restricted to 25% of value, and these are by way of any activity in relation to any function entrusted to panchayat under Article 243G or municipality under Article 243G, 243W. So 11th schedule and 12th schedule, those act, whether this can be covered under this or not. Now, this has been a topic which is for which various ARs also have expressed this view, and now by this clarification also they are saying that only those activities which are directly concerned with performing functions which are interested in this panchayat in 11th schedule and 12th schedule will be covered, and these services are consumed by the local authority. They are not in relation to any functions which are performed by panchayat or municipality, and hence this will not be covered under the exemption entries. And I remember there is, I think, one AR also, some chartered accountancy firm has filed, probably in Madhya Pradesh I can recall, and they have asked this question to AR authorities also, that we are providing auditing services to the local authority, and whether this, because the everything they are auditing a specific project which is with relation to a functions performed by let's say some Manrega or something like that. So whether this activity of doing auditing of this specific project which is relating to a functions performed, whether this can be covered under the exemption entry under 3 or 3A. In that also, there are similar ARs on this point. The important concern is how do we read this by way of any activity in relation to any function, whether these specific wordings are relating to all those things which are only directly connected, or we can say indirectly but relating to that project will be covered. Ancillaries activities also will be covered. What are the views of you? What are the views?
Sir, activity in relation to Article 243W. Next is activity related to activity in relation to 231. We cannot extend it. Activity related to 234.
Correct. But if you go to this 11th schedule and 12th schedule, they broadly mention the areas only, right, sir?
Yes.
So they mentioned the areas. In this areas, like it says that environmental protection, they say that protecting small scale industries and similar kind of things are there.
Yes, those activities cannot be performed by any individual.
Okay.
Those activities, if public health maintenance system, it is Manrega or it is lighting system or it is road network in panchayat, it can be done by those very entities.
Okay.
Now, activities in relation to means no other person can perform that activity. You cannot create road, other person. Now, here the question is activity in relation to activity in relation to 243. That is something different. We cannot go beyond that on this count.
So are you saying that those which are directly relating to those functions will only be covered?
Directly relating to those, yes.
Directly relating to those functions which are mentioned in these articles or 11th or 12th schedules will be covered, but
And,
those which
and
are consumed by this organization, these local authorities, will not get covered.
yes.
Right. So it has to be read in the strict sense that those which are very directly related to those functions will be covered. And
for example, construction of a municipal office is different from activities performed in that office for the public.
okay.
Even in yes, functions to be done by municipal corporation is also important. Other persons cannot do that function. That is why in relation to.
Just want to, sir, just want to give you one pointer on this. I have recently read one AR ruling with regard to this, where social welfare is one of those functions which has been mentioned, and in that AR, if there is a manpower supply services to social welfare department, then the AR authorities have held that social welfare being one of the function and mentioned in that 11th and 12th schedule. And if we are providing any manpower services with respect to that, that will again be covered in the scope of this notification entry, and that will be exempt.
Yes, but if you say I will keep payroll, I will do payroll services those for those manpower, then it will not be covered.
Okay.
Yes. Right. Even I would like to subscribe the same thing. Like even for sewage treatment, whenever the contractor is doing sewage treatment, he is doing an activity in relation to Article 243W. But as rightly pointed by Rajiv Ji, if I'm doing only the payroll services for that manpower, then actually I'm not I'm doing an activity. But a lot of contractors are getting notice on this aspect. So as you know, this will be a huge issue now because many people have treated this for pure service for the last 6 years.
No, ideally they should amend that entry 3 and delete the reference of in relation to, which is causing all these issues.
Yes.
Like we have a client who is doing all this DTP service on the computer operations for issuing of death certificate only.
Yes.
So now they were not being paid GST under this entry because they're doing something in relation to this. Now officers have come up saying that you're not doing anything, you're doing a computer operator service. So that is not in relation to that. So that's why you're not going to get it.
Right.
So Umij rightly pointed out, the entry should only be amended if I think then only and here also I think as is there is basis will come in. So let's see what happens with this.
Right, sir. So with this, let's move to the next part, which is again a clarificatory nature, which says that is DDA is Development Authority. If we read whether this Development Authority can be covered in the definition of local authority as mentioned in section 2 subsection 69 of the CGST Act. I think this has been a very long debatable issues, not only in GST but in income tax also. There has been some exemption which is given to a constant fight is going on to check whether these development authorities can come into the definition of local authority or not. But as I feel that there has been a decision in Madhya Pradesh, Indore, I think Indore Development Authority, which has again pointed out that this cannot be covered in the definition of local authority. The justification which is given here in this circular is, it says that as per serial number 5 of this note, why they are discussing is they say that because there is a reverse charge notification, reverse charge has been casted on local authority. So those who are local authority, for them they do not have to charge any tax. Everything will get majorly will be covered in the reverse charge. And section 269 of CGST Act covers municipal committee, Jilla Parishad, district court, or any other legally entitled to or entrusted by the central government or state government with the control or management of municipal or local fund. So it says any other legal authority will get covered which are entrusted by central or state government, but very important word, but they should have control or management of municipal or local fund. If they are having some control and management of municipal and local fund, that entity can be covered under the definition of a local authority. And that is here distinguished. It means that any authority which is similar to the elected self-governing body, such as municipal committee, which is entrusted with the control and management of municipal or local fund, can be termed as a local authority. It seems that DDA does not meet the requirement of local authority. Thus, as recommended by the GST Council meeting, it has been clarified that DDA cannot be treated as a local authority under GST law. So, I think we see different authorities in different areas are functioning. They cannot be equated with the local authority by this very important word that they do not have control and management of this municipal and local fund, and on that point they are distinguished and they are coming out of this local authority definition. Any point on this, anybody? The next important change, we all of us are aware that after this huge hue and cry from the restaurant authorities, the GST authorities have now amended this word in the notification, reverse charge notification, and saying that it will be applicable to all the registered entities except those entities which are registered under the composition scheme. And now they have clarified that for those interim period, the date from which it has been inserted, and till the date of this this change, that is 16/1/2025, this has been regularized on as is where basis, and so they will not be required to pay any tax on the reverse charge. For all this will be applicable for all those composition person, taxable person. But so now, this has, I think, primarily created some sort of injustice for those restaurant owners who are a registered composition taxable person, but they're taking this restaurant services from registered entities. For them, there is no exemption. But those who have taken this services from unregistered one, they will not be required to pay tax under the reverse charge mechanism. I've been raised this question by one of the authority here, who is an association of restaurant, and they have raised this point. He said, why is this injustice created for us that we have taken this facility from a registered one, and so we are paying tax, and now this reverse charge will make them free again. So this is one point which was there. Any point or anything, any issue on this?
So they can file refunds for those who have paid, right?
Sir, I think in regularized as is where basis means they will not get it. What we usually see is that those who have paid, they will not get it refund, sir. This is the general, wordings they usually do when they are doing this. They usually mention this, sir. What is your view, sir?
No, many people have filed. That's what I wanted to know.
Right, sir. Many people have paid the tax and many people have bear this burden.
Ramandeep ji,
Yes, sir.
in case of as is where is basis, there is one particular circular issued by department that how to interpret as is where is basis.
Sir, please.
And that language says in that circular, जिसने भर दिया वो भूल जाओ, जिसने नहीं भरा वो भी भूल जाओ.
Now, see, as a basis circular is understandable. I agree. But without the backing of 11A, can they say that they can retain taxes which they could not have otherwise retained is a question.
Yeah, that is there. I agree.
Yes. Correct. But this shows their intentions that they are never willing to give back what they have collected it. Right. So one again change we have seen in the 54 GST Council meeting, where where an exemption entry was brought for metering equipment, any services by way of metering equipment on rent on metering equipment, testing, transformer, capacitor, and releasing electrical connection, shifting of meters, and all those ancillary tasks regarding transmission and distribution work. But what they have done is earlier they have used this word in the exemption entry is transmission and distribution. And in this particular GST Council meeting, this word is made transmission or distribution utilities. So this probably is clearly pointing out that this could be only a distributor entity. This could not be a transmission entity. Still, they will be very much eligible for all those exemption entries in electric in releasing electric connections and shifting of meters and testing charges and issue of all those ancillary services will be covered for only distributor entities itself. But the point again remain here that for that interim period of from 10/10/2024 to this change which has been effected in this 55th GST Council meeting, they're saying that this is again regularized on as is where basis, and for the interim period also, if it is performed by the distribution entities, it will still be considered as an exempt task, or if it is performed only by transmission entities, it will still be considered as an exempt exempt in that interim period itself. But when I read this entry, the primary question comes to my mind whether these are any separate services, or these are part and parcel of my principal supply which usually takes place. So why is there is a need of creating a separate entry for this exemption entries? Because I think transmission and distribution charges are already there. There is always a specific entry exempting all these charges, and these are all ancillary services relating to this. Can we not treat them as a composite supply and treat all they were already exempt?
Sir, in some cases there are some subsidy like change of name of the consumer,
Yes,
pole shifting, meter shifting charges. We carried on one audit for this DISCOM. So there
Yes.
are so many entries which are not directly composite, but in Torrent Power's case, it was said that these are composite.
Okay,
And
sir.
all this circular and notification is emanating from that very case of
So-
Torrent Powers.
Okay, sir.
So there are so many which are not intrinsically composite.
So you are saying that there are some entries which are in the nature of composite, but there were some other extra services also which were not composite but still will get covered by this exemption entry.
Yes, there are like this pole shifting.
Okay.
A change of name of the consumer.
Right.
So like that.
Okay, sir. Okay. So any point on this, or the last?
रमन जी
Yes,
लास्ट वाला इशू में और एक इशू भी था, एंड और का वो था, इशू भी था.
Yes, sir. एंड और का था that. Yes.
अपना सवारी रिट्रीट वाला. तो क्या हो रहा है कि अगर आप सिर्फ डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कर रहे हैं,
Correct.
आपने
Correct.
सोलर का वो ले लिया किसी से, आपके ग्रिड में आ रहा है, फिर आप सिर्फ डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कर रहे हैं. The
Correct.
view was that since the word is transmission and
And
distribution,
distribution.
I will
Correct.
not get the benefit.
Correct.
So that is also being clarified here. That's it.
Yes. So now it can cover the complete distribution entities, or it can cover complete transmission entities. So
Yes.
there is no need of doing both the function.
Yes.
Individually also they are covered. Right? Yes. The last point here in this circular was a very specific with relating to institute or a bhavan which is built by the German government across India, which is providing some training and cultural training to young Indians who prefer to stay in the Germany, and they are registered. There are registered centers in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore, Kolkata, and Pune. I was not aware. I was also came to aware by this circular, and it says that they were not collecting GST for providing these services of training and cultural training. They were not leaving anything. From 1st of April 2023, they started collecting GST from the student, and they are paying under the bona fide belief that they are exempt from the GST. Now, with this GST Council meeting, all those services which they have performed from 1st of July 2017 and in between 30th March 2023 was regularized on as-is basis, saying that it will be covered under the exemption entries whether if they have not paid the tax, it will be considered as is where basis. But now they are paying the tax.
So Ramandeep ji, this is again another wonderful example of how representation versus litigation has to be handled by us. देखिए ये representation का matter है. They have not gone for litigation.
Correct.
So they have got the representation. They have got the thing regularized and पूरा मतलब pre-deposit वो सारा चक्कर निकल गया.
Correct.
And in fact, when I had discussed with them long term back 2019, they told, "Arey, we are education institution." Because I was surprised because one of my kids, she was taking German course. I was surprised that they're not charging. So they say we are education institution. We don't have to charge. मैंने बोला अच्छा है हमें charge देना नहीं पड़ना चलिए कोई बात नहीं.
You very rightly pointed out, sir. This representation plays an important role.
Yes. So that is a key takeaway for all of us, like we're into indirect tax practice.
Yes.
So I think we have 2 minutes left. If there are any further questions, we can take them. Yeah, anybody? Unni ji, any question? Annapurna ma'am, Gaurav ji, Anand ji. So if there are no questions, I would request Unni ji to offer a vote of thanks today. If he's in a position to speak, I don't know whether he's driving or not. Unni ji, can you share the vote of thanks?
No issue, sir. No issue.
I think he's driving. No, I think he was.
Probably, sir.
So I would just like to offer a hearty vote of thanks, first of all, to all the participants, more than the speaker.
That is very important.
The speaker is the initiator, I agree, but the participants coming in such large numbers and then taking out points, discussing, because many things seem to be apparently very simple. Just we have discussed about this DDA issue.
Yeah.
So this DDA issue brought to my mind the issue of RCM on all those sanction fees charged by the local authorities.
Yes.
So now that is again something that we can think upon. So all these small things they bring in and a lot of questions that are being asked. Like SG today brought this wonderful thing about quid pro quo and quid cum pro. So I think that is something new that I've learned today. So we'll go through the judgment, understand. So I think I would just like to end by saying that SMS hai to mumkin hai. I would fail in my duties if I don't acknowledge the time, effort of Ramandeep ji, because the time and effort that he's put in going through this, understanding and also sharing with us. So thank you so much.
In fact, sir, Arup sir, I was yesterday very much busy with my hearing.
I know.
Passport. I was not able to devote much time to the preparation part. Let me take apologies for that also.
No. I think the discussion was good. The discussion was solid. That's it.
Yes.
So thank you everyone, and looking forward to meeting all of you next week. That is on the 8th of Feb. And have a wonderful weekend ahead. And those at WAFA, please do share pictures with us. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you, Raman. Thank you to all.
Thank you.